This past weekend, the SCG Open Series came to our hometown of Syracuse, New York. Unsurprisingly, Planeswalkers and Mono Red were the only decks left standing at the end of the weekend. This tournament had a major impact on sales, with 6 of the top 10 cards being from the winning deck list. Let's take a look at what made the cut. Number 10. Dolan's Veto. Our number 10 card is currently sitting in the sideboard of almost every deck that can play it. With Jeskai Planeswalkers and Mono Red at the top of the meta, Dolan's Veto has no end of non-creature spells to counter. Number 9. Ferry, Time Raveler. I've talked about Ferry a number of times in this series. It is a powerful control card that is being tested out in a large variety of decks. Last week, CoolStuffInc.com's Michael Flores wrote an article claiming it was the best card in Standard. Most of the article pointed out how at its worst, Ferry Time Raveler is still better than most other cards with similar effects. He determined that when evaluating the newest Ferry, its worst case scenario is more important than its potential ceiling. Number 8. Cranko, Tin Street Kingpin. One of the few cards in the top 10 that didn't see play at SCG Syracuse was Cranko. And just like last week, Commander seems to be the main factor in Cranko being here. EDH Rex Mason Brantley released an article last week on how underrated the card is currently. While some might argue that this Cranko is worse than the previous version, I have to disagree. The two cards support different playstyles, and will many times win in different ways. Cranko Mob Boss was a combo commander. There's rarely a need to attack with Mob Boss as the tokens will be doing the heavy lifting. And these decks often win without even needing to do combat damage. Impact Tremors and Goblin Bombardment gets past blockers and avoid your opponent's combat spells like Settle the Wreckage and Aetherize. Cranko Tin Street Kingpin wins through attacking with high power. Winning through commander damage is much more likely as you'll be attacking often and using cards like Whisper Silk Cloak and Glaring Spotlight to make sure Cranko gets through unscathed. The recently spoiled Goblin Matron may also be boosting sales of Cranko as well. Number 7. Interplay Beacon. In 3 and 4 color Planeswalker decks, Interplay Beacon is essential for an efficient mana base. The 1-for-1 mana fixing makes sure that you can cast your Planeswalkers on curve, and the life gain helps you stay in the game while you set up your battlefield. Number 6. Gnar Set, Parter of Veils. Gnar Set's showing this past weekend was incredible. A total of 22 Gnar Sets were in the top 8 deck lists, most of which were running a playset in the main deck. Gnar Set has probably been the most widely used card from War of the Spark thus far, and it's easy to see why. Repeatable card advantage has been recognized as a vital aspect of the game ever since JM de Tolman Alpha, and getting that while shutting off your opponent's ability to produce card advantage is too strong of a static ability to be ignored in any format. Number 5. Carne, the Great Creator. I've talked about Carne in last week's episode, and since then it has climbed up from number 9 to number 5. During the Open, Ely Cassis played Simic Ramp that runs 3 Carne's mainboard, and has an artifact package in the sideboard built to counter the most popular decks in the current meta. During the deck tech, Ely explained what cards Carne can grab and what they are best against. I'll run through them quickly, just in case you didn't get a chance to tune into the stream. Sorcerer's Spyglass shuts down opposing Planeswalkers. Navigator's Compass gets you a little extra time to build your board against Mono Red. Sentinel Totem is an answer to the Command the Dreadhorde decks. Meteor Golem is generic permanent removal. Helm of the Host can make Meteor Golems enter the battlefield effect into an upkeep ability, with a free hasted 8/8 body. It also can be put on any of the main deck creatures with enter the battlefield effects. God Pharaoh's Statue shuts down Arclight Phoenix, and finally, the Immortal Sun shuts down Planeswalker decks. Number 4. Mizzium Tank. Mizzium Tank didn't show up in the top 8 over the weekend, but interestingly, what makes it powerful is actually what it doesn't interact with. Modeled after Halcyon Glaze from original Ravnica, Mizzium Tank is normally an artifact. It only becomes a creature when you cast a non-creature spell. This allows it to get around sweepers, sorcery speed creature removal, and on top of that, it can't be stolen with mind control type spells or reanimation spells. Number 3. Saheeli, Sublime Artificer. Another piece of the Jeskai Planeswalker decks, Saheeli is at the bottom of the curve for Planeswalkers. The deck doesn't play a single creature, so every spell you cast is guaranteed to give you a servo token, as long as Saheeli is on the battlefield. Those 1/1s can chump block to protect your bigger Planeswalkers, or swing in on your opponent's walkers with a wide attack to get around blockers. Number 2. Command the Dreadhorde. One deck that has been seeing play but didn't quite make it into the top 8 was 4-color Dreadhorde. It's basically a pile of powerful Planeswalkers and creatures that you can use and reuse throughout the game, with both Command the Dreadhorde and Tamiyo Collector of Tales bringing threats back over and over. The mana in this deck can occasionally give you trouble, but Interplay Beacon and Paradise Druid will typically be enough to fix that issue. Number 1. Sarkon the Masterless. Sarkon the Masterless is a bomb in the Jeskai Planeswalkers deck. The Dragon token is huge for the cost, and its plus ability is a powerful finisher when you've got a couple Planeswalkers on the battlefield. The 4/4 Dragon is especially strong in the Planeswalker matchups, as it can fly over blockers and deal enough damage to at the very least turn off minus abilities. Many times, it can kill the Planeswalker outright. And that's it for our top 10 this week. The next major event coming up is Modern, and with the newest surge of Modern Horizons spoilers, we might be seeing some Modern cards making their way into the top 10. I'm still holding out hope for Shardless Agent. What Modern cards do you think will make it into the next top 10? Let me know in the comments, then like and subscribe to keep up with future top 10s.